Hello, boys and girls. My name is Sister Camille. And because I'm outside and I'm far away from the recorder, I'm going to take off my mask. Safety first. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite things, and that's trees. I'm sitting under a beautiful tree. And before I tell you a story about a special tree, I want you to know that we absolutely need trees. You know why? Because we breathe out CO2 and the tree takes it in and gives us oxygen. So we need every single tree we have. And today I brought a brand new book published this year. It's called The Oak and His Friends. Let me tell you the story. One day, the little hedgehog was hurrying home with a huge pile of food foraged from the forest. Suddenly, it started raining really, really heavily. And in his hurry to get home, the little hedgehog dropped an acorn. Wow. Right where it fell, the acorn hid under a leaf that had dropped off a tree. Tucked under this blanket, he fell into a sweet sleep. He slept for such a long time. He woke up in the spring when the snow was melted. He wasn't an acorn anymore. He was a little sprig. The mouse liked the little sprig and dug a little hole beneath him. Time passed and the little sprig turned into a young tree. The bees made a hive for themselves on the very top branch. The rabbit and the badger dug sets among his roots. Then the magpie flew down and made her nest. Next arrived was a woodpecker who pecked out a hole to live in. Then a spider came along and marked out its place on the oak with a spider web. They all lived together happily. The oak liked being a home for them all. He spent all day, from morning to night, watching what his friends were doing. He slept at night, but sometimes heard what his nocturnal residents were getting up to. Those are all the animals that come out at night. One night, the owl hooted loudly in his crown. Twit-twoo! The oak woke with a start and realized that it had moved into the old hole left by the woodpecker, who had moved into a smaller and more cozy one. The oak wasn't cross about being woken up. He saw a family of fireflies flitting around him. Oh, what beauty! As the oak grew, so did the number of his friends living there. New nests and dens appeared. Even a bear came and dug a den in a hole next to the oak. In the autumn, the oak's acorns ripened. The animals and birds were really fond of them and stored them away for the winter. They used the fallen leaves to keep their homes warm. When the cold days arrived, the oak fell asleep for the whole of the winter. The bear, badger, hedgehog, and grass snake slept with him. It's so sweet to sleep beneath the snow. The rest of the oak's friends carried on with the daily work, but when it was very, very cold, they sat at home to keep warm and munched on their stores of tasty acorns. In the winter, the rabbits and partridges changed their coats from gray to white and won all the games of hide and seek with the fox. As the warm days of spring arrived, everyone woke up. Everybody got really busy. They had so many things to do after the long winter. They needed to wash and find food and clean their houses. And in the spring, the oak blossomed. It's true that the flowers are very modest, but the bees loved their nectar and made the most delicious honey from them. Ask the bear, he'll tell you. Bears love honey. Uh-oh. One hot summer's day, there was a terrible storm. A bolt of lightning struck the oak, and its dry bark caught fire. There was a huge commotion. All the oak's friends began to flee. Oh, the poor tree. What's going to happen? But they quickly came back because the oak was their home. They all worked together and put out the fire. See them working together? To begin with, the oak suffered great pain, but the burnt spot healed very quickly with new bark and branches. A little gap in the bark was formed, and a bat made his home there. Black was his favorite color. One autumn, much later, the oak produced a huge harvest of acorns, and everyone ate to their heart's content and filled their stalks for the winter. The friends decided to say thank you to the oak. They adorned him with flowers, laid out a treat of tasty food at his roots, and invited everyone to the celebration. As dusk just before the daytime friends had gone to bed and the nighttime friends had just woken up, they all danced around the oak singing happy songs. The oak thought to himself, "How old am I?" He began counting until he reached 100. Happy birthday, beloved oak. And that's the end. Well, you heard about the tree and how many creatures love the trees. Now we're going to look at the families of trees. And if you look at these different leaves, you'll see that they all come from a different family. And they don't look alike. And so we're going to talk about your family and how you can make a tree and show all the people in your family as part of your tree. I'm going to show you the simple one that I made. I made this one starting with my mom and dad, and they're in the red. My mom and my dad and my mom, and they had 3 children, me, my sister, and my brother. And my sister married Bill, and they had 1 son, Kevin, and he married Kim. And they had 2 other children, and I could have built 2 more leaves. This is how I made my tree. You'll be getting a package with some ideas of how you can make your family tree And you can even use pictures. So let's see if you can try that.